What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 20, boys. We made it. Number 20.
Yay!
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Big news.
Next episode, we'll be able to drink.
I don't think that podcast episodes relate to drinking, but Jalen, I get what you mean. I appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this week's edition of the Fourth and Long podcast. I am joined by co-host Jalen Johnson. What's up, man?
What's up?
And for those that don't know, because I think the 246 recap show should be up before this episode hits the airways, but recently promoted Blake Campbell, no longer just friend of the show, no longer just UFC know-it-all. He is the official Fourth and Long UFC correspondent. Blake, thanks for joining us today on the podcast.
Excited to be here with you guys, ready to talk about some football.
And others.
And other sports.
Yeah, maybe some other sports. We might gloss over some other sports.
Oh yeah, maybe. Football and others. We gotta be you gotta have diversity.
We're inclusive.
Yeah. We're for everyone.
We do not. What's the word? You know, we're not prejudiced.
Oh, that's a good word.
We
Jalen,
don't
you know something
discriminate.
about prejudice, don't you?
Oh yeah, big time. I've ran into a good amount of racists in my life.
Half of it's from me, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna get things rolling by starting off with the classic, tried and true show starter for us, and that is the things we like corner. And I think, fellas, we all kind of agreed on this one in that we're still in the MMA mood, and UFC 246 just happened. We just talked about this before the show, and I love the unpredictability of MMA, specifically what happened in the main event of 246 with Conor McGregor knocking out Cowboy Cerrone in 40 seconds, which is something that no one saw coming.
At all.
Thanks for that great contribution to the conversation.
You're welcome. I'm always there when you need me.
Nice hype, man.
You fucking bastard. But yeah, fellas, you guys can of course get our full take on this by watching the 246 recap show. But just a quick kind of summary. Shit went down and it was insane, and I had my mouth wide open for a solid minute after the fight. I was speechless, and it was absolutely amazing, and I was shook, and that's kind of a fun feeling.
No homo.
Yes, thank you, Jalen. I appreciate that. No homo. That's what the co-host is for.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm here for.
My homo checker.
Yep. Okay, no, that was a no homo moment right there too.
Oh man, Blake, what?
All right.
What did you get yourself into on this week's show, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. You guys are off to a hot start.
No homo on Blake's side too.
But speaking of hot start, if we're just going to go into our conference championship recap, Titans and Chiefs. Titans got off to a hard start in this game. Ooh, segue, baby. I'm the fucking best. Put some respect on the name.
Debatable.
Okay, fuck you. Titans Chiefs. The Titans faced off in the early game in Kansas City, and the Chiefs were able to come away with the win with the final score of 35-24. As I mentioned, the Titans got off to a hard start. Field goal on the opening drive. Then they forced a 3-and-out the following defensive series, and then Derrick Henry they drove for 10 minutes. It was like around 9 or 10 minutes. Offensive drive all the way down the field. Yeah, Derrick Henry capping that off with a 4-yard touchdown run. Eventually, they were up 17-7, and then shit got real, just like it did last week for the Chiefs. They didn't put up 41 unanswered, but they still put up 28 unanswered points in this football game. You guys, what did you guys think of this one?
I couldn't believe how hot of a start that the Titans got off to.
Right?
It was really unexpected. I think they got to what was it, 17-0 before the Chiefs started answering back?
They got to 10-0, and then the Chiefs scored to make it 10-7, and then the Titans went up 17-7.
Yeah. So it was back and forth for a little bit, but I mean, the thing that stands out the most to me is just how instant the Chiefs can turn it on. I mean, they can put points on the board in a hurry. 28 points in a quarter is completely not out of the question for them.
Oh, hell no. They put up 21 points in 3 minutes and change last week against the Texans. This offense is built on so much speed and explosive plays. You can have a 35-point lead on them, and you're never safe against these guys. And I think that's the scariest part about their team.
Yeah, they can score at any moment.
It didn't bode well for a team like the Titans either. You know, a team that is predicated on controlling the game with running the ball and running out the clock. Mm-hmm. A team that can score at will and fast like the Chiefs. That's the kind of the poison to a team like the Titans that wants to control the ball and control the clock.
Exactly. What went wrong in this is besides that 9-minute drive that the Titans had to score their first touchdown, they didn't really have that drive. Looked phenomenal. That's exactly what you want when you're going against the Chiefs team, but that's the only time in the game they were able to do that. Derrick Henry was contained. He had 19 carries for only 69 yards and that one touchdown on that drive, but besides that, he was pretty quiet after the first quarter, which was really shocking considering that he has his best yardage, his best yards per carry, his best touchdown numbers come in the second half of the games. And to see the Chiefs be able to shut him down like this, way more than the Ravens did, I was impressed and surprised at the same time.
But also, I want to tip my cap to Derrick Henry because the fact that we're saying rushing for 69 yards is being contained.
Right?
It is saying something.
70 yards and one touchdown is a bad game for Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that's crazy that we have to say that. Like, oh, he had a bad game. But his bad game was a game that every running back kind of hopes for on a week in, week out basis.
Right?
But,
man, he was only averaging a little under 4 yards a carry. Fucking bum. Jeez. Unreal.
Yeah. Unreal.
Credit to the Chiefs defense in this one. They came up with a great game plan. Of course, Andy Reid, as always, having a great offensive game plan set in place. Titans the Chiefs made the halftime adjustments that they needed to, and I don't think that the Titans were able to keep up with those adjustments in the second half. I think that was a turning point in the game. Is after halftime, because the Chiefs received the second half kick, no, they didn't score in that third, but they had the ball. They had a long ass drive to end the third quarter. Then early in the fourth quarter, 10 seconds into the fourth, they scored a touchdown. Then only like 7 minutes, around 7 minutes later, they put in another touchdown to make it 35-17, and that was really the icing on the cake, because that was a 60-yard touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes to Sammy Watkins, and that essentially iced the game. Yeah,
what type of cake are we talking?
Double chocolate.
Oh, icing on that. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, continue.
You fat fuck. And then you had the Titans score late in this game with 4 minutes to go. Solid 22-yard touchdown dime from Ryan Tannehill to Anthony Firkser, the guy that scored that opening touchdown against the Patriots. First Harvard tight end to score a touchdown in the NFL playoff game, by the way. But besides that, they couldn't stop them. I know you guys caught that one Patrick Mahomes touchdown run, that 27-yard run where he broke like 4 tackles and made the time. He looked like he's putting on his best Lamar Jackson impression, I think, during that run. And this is crazy. I don't understand it. But well, at the same time, you had Patrick Mahomes looking good in that, and then you had the Titans forgetting how to tackle. And he scored this with 11 seconds to go in the half, and the Titans gave up this.
They were just going to go.
Before this drive, the Titans were up 17-14, And then after this, the Chiefs scored with 11 seconds to go in the half, go up 21-17, and that was I think that's the turning point of the game, because that took all the momentum in the air out of that Titans sideline, and everything was rolling with the Chiefs. And I think that's what ended up killing the Tennessee Titans in this game.
Yeah, no, they're kind of like the same way I said last week about Baltimore losing. Is they're both teams that kind of try to control the clock, and when you're both doing it, and one team takes the lead early, it's difficult. But the weakness for both teams were teams that were kind of big explosives. But
that's fucking annoying. Damn, that's probably not going to show up for you guys, but it's going to show up on the listener's side how the fucking ESPN video just popped up. Ah, fuck you, ESPN.
Oh, yeah, no, you're all good. Yeah, ESPN popping up videos trying to ruin us. They got spies watching us trying to stop our
they're
podcast.
Scared. We're coming for you, ESPN.
Up. They're scared. We got 55 followers on Twitter. We coming for you, dog. Like, we almost there.
Man. Be afraid.
Almost there. We coming for you.
Stephen A.
Be very afraid.
Maybe not.
I'm coming for your jobs.
You're a legend. I would like to work beside you.
Yeah, Stephen A. If you ever want to come on the show.
Oh.
Just let us know.
Blake, you got any thoughts about this game? Anything that we haven't covered or made a point about?
Not really. I mean, you guys have pretty much hit on everything.
I'm really good at doing that.
There was really nothing else that I really think I needed to add. The Chiefs they're too high powered, I think, right now for anyone else in the AFC. No one else was able to really put up a fight against them this year. Especially in the postseason. I think the Ravens were probably the only team that could have given them a run for their money, but they couldn't get past, obviously, their big tests.
The buzzsaw, Derrick Henry.
Yep. So
yeah, King Henry.
I think the Titans kind of ran out of juice,
Yeah. I would like to give credit to the Tennessee Titans because they started off like 1-3 or something like that. They took a gamble after their abysmal loss to the Denver Broncos when the Broncos shut out the Titans 16-0 in Denver. I want to add that the Broncos held Derrick Henry to under 50 yards rushing. The Ravens couldn't do that. The Chiefs couldn't do that. Almost every team couldn't do that. So, all I'm saying is that the Broncos are one of the best teams in the league. It protecting the run, and put a little respect on them. I know you don't want to, Blake, but I think you should.
Beach, I'm playing.
Call for. But the Titans took. Fuck you. The Raiders suck, dick, and they're leaving Oakland.
Ouch.
Broncos are trash.
Someone sounds hurt.
Who hasn't been to Super Bowl in like 20 years or 30?
Ouch. Me either.
Who got tuck ruled?
Raiders. The Raiders have definitely been to a Super Bowl within the last 20 years.
Which one?
You sound uneducated. Are you okay?
No, I'm never okay. I'm Ross fucking Allen.
Right?
What part of this sounds like I'm okay?
You remember 2002, the year 2002? Were you born yet?
I was born yet, thank you very much.
We're part of the elite 1999.
What about tuck rule? Your thoughts on that, Blake?
You want to bring up the past, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You want to bring up that Seattle ass whooping?
Oh, I don't want to bring up that Seattle ass whooping. That's what we don't want to do.
Yeah, that was fun to watch.
You know who beat Seattle this year? At home?
The Cardinals. Ooh.
Yeah, we did.
I think Jalen wins this
the
argument.
Big boy plays.
But where I was going with this before we somehow got super fucking sidetracked like usual. That's why you guys like the show, because we just go off talking about something that has no relation to what we're talking about. Oh yeah, Broncos shot at the Titans. The Titans could say thank you to the Broncos because after that game, that's when they replaced Marcus Mariota with Ryan Tannehill. And so I'm saying that the Broncos should be credited with the success of the Tennessee Titans. That's my TED Talk.
Broncos are
Thank you for visiting my TED Talk.
Team in the NFL.
Okay, not totally the worst, but They were.
The Bengals.
Fuck you mean? The Broncos and Raiders had the same record, 7-9.
Broncos are terrible, and
I thought we were making this really personal, guys. We have to stay professional and get back on
Fuck
track.
professional. Have you heard the show?
We have an agenda to follow.
Fine, we'll follow the agenda. I was going to wrap it up. The Titans and Mike Vrabel put on the show. No one expected this, and I really loved watching them. They had the backing of America. I really wanted them to go to the Super Bowl. But I guess the one positive thing for Titans and specifically Mike Vrabel about not making it to the Super Bowl is that his dick is safe, and I think that's a good thing. You guys might not understand the reference. Everyone's listening might understand that. I'm not just talking about another man's dick out of nowhere. Mike Vrabel said before the postseason that he would cut off his own dick if that meant winning another Super Bowl.
I don't think he cut off his dick then.
Nope. He did win the Super Bowl this year, so his dick is safe for at least 1 year.
Yep. Make sure you have to cut off his dick.
No.
Okay. No, I'm good.
Okay. Moving on then. Great game. It was interesting to watch. It looked like it was a 2-score game, but it looked like it was coming down to it. The Titans still kind of had a little bit of chance there at the end, but in the next game, this team did not have a chance at all, and that was the Packers because they got fucked up big time by the San Francisco 49ers. Final score 37-20, but don't let a 17-point win kind of swayed you on it. It was way worse than 17-point spread. I'm gonna tell you that. The Niners got off to a 27-0 lead at halftime, and that was brutal. They were just rushing. They were just piling on. It wasn't like last week. How I talked about. It wasn't Jimmy G that helped them win the game. It was their standout rushing game. Raheem Mostert with a monster game, 29 carries, 220 yards, and 4 touchdowns. The Packers had absolutely no answer or response to the run game. But also, it wasn't just run backs. It wasn't just Tevin Coleman, who exited early with a shoulder injury. It wasn't Monster. It wasn't Matt Breida. Most of my credit to that run game goes to the offensive line because they're opening up 2-yard, 3-yard holes in the line. They were moving bodies. They were getting to the second level, getting on linebackers, making space for the running backs. And you almost never see that kind of space open up in the NFL. And that 49ers offensive line was doing that. And I want to give, I might sound a little biased because, former O-line, of course I'm going to put them up. But we really have to respect the blocking game that this Niners offensive line put on for us. It was unreal. It was textbook. And this is the film from this game for what the Niners offensive line was able to do against those that defensive front seven. It should be reviewed and scouted and analyzed as what to do against a team like this.
Definitely.
There's my tangent again. I'm really good at doing these, huh?
I'm really good at tangents, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be like Stephen L. That's my opening monologue. That all good ESPN shows have.
Stay off the weed.
Duh.
That game was boring as shit.
Oh.
Where the fuck did that come from, Blake? Thank you. May you
elaborate?
Say more. Elaborate.
Go into greater detail. Okay. Let's just say this: that game never interested me.
Really?
I was never captivated.
It didn't live up to the hype.
There was only a few points in the game, and it was touched. I was like, oh shit. And other than that, I mean, really, it was pretty freaking boring. And all credit to the Niners for making it boring. They beat the shit out of the Packers.
Yeah, that's fair. There's no Bay
Would you
Area
say that
bias
they Holly Holmes the Packers?
No, I mean, at least the Niners were actually like landing knockout punches, so to say.
Now, if Holly Holmes was like this game, she would have knocked down Raquel Pennington a few times.
Yeah, because they were scoring.
I think if you had to put a points football score into that fight, it would be like 9-0 San Francisco. Just a few field goals and call it good.
Yeah, because I mean, the people that are teams of fans that are the blowout enjoy those games. But
Yeah.
when you don't really have a dog in the fight and you're watching a game, you're hoping for a good game overall. And this
Exactly.
game wasn't a good game. Niners were dominating in every asset of this game.
Yeah, I really agree with you on that one.
So it just was kind of disappointing at that end because we didn't really get any games today. Really, it was two teams that just showed their dominance.
Yeah, two teams. If they're that dominant, I am looking forward to the Super Bowl. Stay tuned for our Super Bowl preview show. We're gonna have our own show for that. I think is what I'm gonna do, because it's the Super Bowl. It's the greatest game in all of professional sports, and it deserves that kind of respect.
It does.
One thing I want to talk about though is I think Deebo Samuel is he needs to be talked about more because he's been having he didn't necessarily have it on the stat line. I guess he had 2 catches for 46 yards, 2 rushing attempts for 43 yards. So he had 4 chunk plays, but the impact he's had with the Niners over the last 2 weeks, I think he's been a secret weapon for them, and I think he deserves recognition for what he's been doing for the San Francisco 49ers.
Definitely.
Also, what happened last week, like I said, Jimmy G is overrated. He is not a franchise quarterback, but he has done the last 2 weeks, so he's done enough to win the game. He had a Ryan Tannehill performance, so like what Ryan Tannehill against the Ravens, that's what Jimmy G did today. He went 6 for 8, 77 passing yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, kept it clean. Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, 31 for 39, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions. The one was before halftime. It was kind of a killer because the Niners were able to get points off of that. They scored a touchdown right before halftime. And he also threw a game-ending interception to Richard Sherman with 1:20 left in the game. I think Richard was only thrown to about maybe 2 or 3 times this game. His first throw to him didn't happen until the 4th quarter, and that ended up going for like a 60-yard pass. So that looked bad, but he still had the interception off for like 3 passes his way. And it's kind of funny on the playoffs, in conference championship games with the Niners, he goes from stopping the Niners from making the Super Bowl with a intercept, or with he tipped it, and now he gets the Niners he seals the Niners win to the Super Bowl by getting the interception for them. A little bit of parody right there.
Yeah, it goes back and forth, I guess.
It's crazy how shit works sometimes in the NFL. Overall, about this game, the Packers got handled, and they should be embarrassed. And Rodgers should be embarrassed, and the Packers fans should be embarrassed. But I want to give, even in this loss, I still want to give credit to first-year head coach Matt LaFleur. He had a really good year, especially being a first-time head coach. He changed that defense. That defense was much improved than it was last year, and the offense was just clicking better this year than it has over the past couple of years. So I want to give credit where credit is due.
Agreed on that.
Yeah. Couple things I want to talk about while we're still on the topic of football. It relates to this second game with the Niners and the Packers. My first question is to you guys. Does this loss taint Aaron Rodgers' legacy as a Hall of Fame quarterback?
I don't think it adds a feather to his cap, so to say. That's for sure. But I don't think it hurts his case for getting really that much, because he's always going to be looked at as just one of the best pure arm talents out there. But you wanted to see him win this game to kind of cement his status as just a next level guy that can elevate people around him and take his team to where they need to be to get to the next, to the game that matters the most, which is the Super Bowl. He wasn't able to do that today, and it's not. I think he's ran out of excuses now. He had a good enough team this year, in my opinion. He just wasn't able to get it done, and that's really all it comes down to. He's gotten the Super Bowl win, so his legacy I don't think can really be tarnished, so to say. but he's not going to be that guy that's on Tom Brady level when it comes to winning football games.
Yeah. Can I give you guys? I don't necessarily want to say it, but he might. There's a lot you could argue Aaron Rodgers as kind of a choker, at least when it comes to conference championship games. So in conference championship games in his career, he is 1-3 with 6 interceptions to only 4 touchdown passes. That's not good, is it?
Terrible.
No, and also he has 2 losses to the Arizona Cardinals in play.
Oh, I remember that game where he forced overtime with that Hail Mary at the end. Then Larry Fitzgerald had like a 70-yard pass, and then they give him that little shovel pass at the goal line, which was great.
Yep. Hail Larry is always better than a Hail Mary.
Hail Larry.
Whoever that bitch is.
Hey, speaking of Larry, he is back. He confirmed that he will be back for the next season. And who doesn't want to see Larry Fitzgerald keep on playing, because I love him. It's just a shame that he's been stuck on the Cardinals.
One of the few players around the NFL. Yeah, I feel like okay, let's not do this right now.
Almost got that one past you.
One of those few players around the league that like everyone loves to see come back and loves to see make big plays. And, like, you hate to love him sometimes because he's not on your team, but at the same time, it's like it's hard to hate Larry.
Oh, sorry. Let me. Oh no, you can't hate Larry. He's one of the nicest people to ever be in the league. Always a nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. But one thing I just want to correct them. I said that Aaron Rodgers was 6 interceptions to 4 touchdowns in the championship game. After tonight, he's now up to 7 interceptions and 6 touchdown passes in championship rounds.
Nice.
So, still not good.
No, not at all. But
Blake, I do agree with you in the way that I don't think at the end of his career he's going to be looked as someone particularly bad in championship games. But there's always going to be that hanging over his head and kind of like that storm cloud over his career because of this. You know?
Definitely. Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
But also, besides just Aaron Rodgers' legacy, can we call the Packers one of the worst, if not the worst, 13-3 team of all time?
Yeah, I honestly still don't understand how they did it, but it happens sometimes. People slip through the cracks.
Yeah, strength of schedule, I guess. They got the NFC North, which isn't too bad, especially this season. Between them, the Vikings were good, but besides them, it was just the Lions and Bears, and they were both kind of embarrassing this year.
Definitely.
Get it?
But it seemed like they're all kind of like...
No.
Yeah.
Talk about my pun first. Get it? Embarrassing. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so fucking good at this thing.
But as I was saying, a lot of these teams kind of started off the year really hot, and then they kind of like filled out like the Lions. Like the Lions at the beginning of the season, everyone was like, "Yo," because they beat the Chargers. They had a really close game with the Cardinals to start the season off, a tie. They were kind of just rolling through teams at the beginning of the season. And all of a sudden, they just shit the bed, and then the Bears, they were just kind of shite the whole year.
Right.
I don't know.
It was bad. But that's I think you could make the argument for them at least being one of the worst 13-3 teams of all time. They seem like fakers, and this championship game really exposed them. They got earlier in the season, they got fucked up by the Niners. I think Niners put 40-something. It was like 40-something 13, I think. And this game wasn't as bad, but it was still pretty bad. And the Packers, their record, I think the record says 13-3, but the way they played, they looked 11-5. And I think they're a little overrated going to the playoffs. I think they weren't a number 2 seed in terms of power rankings. And this game just kind of showed their flaws, and it showed that they're not as good as your record might state. And I don't know about worst of all time, but this has to be one of the most disappointing performances by a 13-3 team in history, you know?
Yeah,
at least in recent memory. At least.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
All I know is that Packers fans, you should be sad. Packers, you should be sad. Matt LaFleur, you should be a little sad, but kind of happy with what you did this season. Aaron Rodgers, just get good in championship rounds, man. Just don't shit the bed in a conference championship game. That's all you need to do.
Just don't shit yourself, bro.
But the one championship game he has won, he won
Wear
the
a
Super
diaper.
Bowl. So maybe he just every time he wins championships, he's guaranteed a Super Bowl win. No, that's the stat we could make.
I guess so. I don't know.
But that's going to do it
Something
for
like
our wrap up of the NFL for this week. One thing I want to discuss before we wrap up is the Houston Astros cheating scandal. I know, Blake, you're not the biggest fan of baseball, to say the least.
Yeah, it's trash.
Blake, thanks for the segue. Because speaking of trash, the Houston Astros used a trash can to tip off pitches to their batters. So, Blake,
Ouch.
my boy with the segues. Let's go.
Got you, bro.
The Segway.
We're on the same wavelength.
I was thinking about buying a Segway.
Jalen, don't buy a Segway. You'll probably hurt your knee.
My knees are in great shape right now, bro.
Sorry, wrist.
Fuck you.
Yeah, but this Astros cheating scandal, almost everyone knows what happened by now. But for those that don't, I'll give a brief explanation. So they had a camera in the outfield so they could see what signs the catcher is throwing down. And they had that video relayed to a monitor in the hallway between the dugout and the team clubhouse. And there a team official would bang on a trash can. If it was an off-speed pitch, he'd bang on a trash can. And if it's like a fastball, there won't be a sound. But the batters would get tipped off if it's off-speed because they hear the clanging and they know to wait on it and wait for the movement and all that, you know. So because this should definitely be taken seriously because this happened during the 2017 season when the Houston Astros did win the World Series over the Dodgers in 7 games. Really good World Series, by the way. Really solid series. Even Blake, I think, might appreciate a couple games in that one. But the fallout of this has been really impactful. The league, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of the MLB, handed out the punishments of that the Houston Astros are forced to forfeit their 2020 and 2021 first and second round draft picks. The team was fined $5 million. And then manager AJ Hinch and general manager Jeff Lunhow were suspended for 1 season without pay. But instead of just having them suspended, Houston took the coward's way out like the bunch of cheating bastards they are. And they just fired both of them. You fucking pussies. Just accept your punishment. Fuck. I hate them. I really hate Houston now. But I
hate them.
The one player, the player that actually broke all this was a former Houston Astros player. Which he's currently the A's second best pitcher in the starting rotation. That's Mike Fiers. And Mike Fiers, from at least from me, almost everyone's been saying this, but he is a hero to the sport for taking a risk and breaking and whistleblowing this. And I really respect Mike Fiers, and I thank him so much. And I really hope he, at least he doesn't have to bat because he's a pitcher. But if he had to bat, he'd be getting hit by those Houston pitchers for sure. I hope nothing bad happens to him. One really bad take. I don't know if you guys saw this, but someone, I forget her name. It's just some dumb bitch because listen to what she said about Mike Fiers is that he shouldn't have said anything about this, and that's one of the worst takes I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. Come on now. What do you mean? You rather just a guy be quiet and listen and not say anything about a team with big time cheating like this? I want a fucking clean game, please. I know that
exactly.
that like 10% of the league is on roids, and pitchers do all they can to get an advantage. But like using pine tar on your hand is different than actually tipping out the batters what the pitch is. You know?
Yeah, it's like that's obviously it makes a bigger difference. They made the entire stealing signs helps an entire team. If you're pitching with some pine tar or something, it might help your stats a little bit.
That might get the rotations on the pitch up a little more. But it's not unstoppable. That's more marginal of an advantage than tipping off the fucking pitch. You know?
Yeah, like they showed, I think it was Jose Altuve's numbers when he was away in the playoffs. He batted like 145, but when he was home in the playoffs, he batted like a 456.
That's not fishy at all, is it? Not at all.
Not at all.
Oh my fuck you, Houston. bottom line, fuck you guys. There
I
are
was
also
proud of you guys
rumors
for
that
winning the freaking championship, and now you really pissed me off when I found this out. Like I wouldn't call myself the biggest baseball fan in the world, but I am dedicated when it comes to my team and stuff like that. And
Giants.
just hearing about this, yes, I'm a Giants fan,
You're
but just hearing about this really just pissed me off because I one thing I do hate is cheaters in any sport. Cheating, like it's too many people risk their bodies and lives for years upon years to get to the league, and if you're going to sit there after you're there and just take away the dedication and just heart that it takes to make it and stay there, it pisses me off to see, and it pisses me off that they got away with it for this long and they didn't get caught, and it pisses me off that they're still able to walk around with those rings on. They don't deserve those rings at all. They don't deserve to play this season.
The Houston Astros organization or any of the players shouldn't be able to look anyone else in the fucking eye. They should all be extremely embarrassed, and they're pathetic for this, honestly.
Jose Altuve should be stripped of all awards he won that year. Anybody on that team should be stripped of anything else they won that year. Title's gone. They shouldn't be allowed to make playoffs next season. There's a lot more stuff that should have happened that didn't happen.
NCAA death penalty.
Yes, they should have been banned.
I was about to ask, was that punishment enough? Obviously not in your case.
Not
it also
at all.
wasn't enough for me. Personally, I don't think that the title should be stripped. I definitely don't think that the Dodgers should be awarded that title. There should at least be an asterisk by that. Just like for Barry Bonds, there should be an asterisk by his name in the home run leaders because that fucker juiced. He was more juiced than a damn buff horse, you know? He was taking more HGH than a whole horse training camp. Fucking hell. But
no.
When his neck is thicker than his torso. Okay.
Yeah, that was.
But this wasn't enough to me. I would have liked a 3-year ban on Hinch and Lundhau. I would have liked, honestly, maybe take away their third rounders too. Just fuck them up entirely. I don't know if I agree about banning someone from the playoffs.
I don't think that first and second round really hurts because it's like,
they also they traded away those picks anyway when they acquired Justin Verlander.
Yeah, so it's like...
So it's still going to fuck their farm system, and it's still going to take away from their salary pool for their farm system. So that's going to mess them up developmentally. But I don't think that was enough still, because this is a big time
when something like this happens,
the team win a World Series. Okay.
Exactly. I think when stuff like this happens, there needs to be more punishment that affects them immediately.
Yes.
Like, you take away the draft pick that fucks them up future-wise, but they can still easily next year find a good coach, and they still have a good enough roster and a good enough stuff to go back to the playoffs. It wasn't like they were just there.
All I know is that the MLB punished him, but they didn't truly make an example out of them like I wish they had.
Yeah, like this didn't. I don't think this scared anybody out of doing it. Like I think any other coach who's still doing it, it's like, if I win a World Series, at least I won a World Series, right?
Right.
And they're not like it's. Oh my god, it pisses me off.
That's our tangent. That's our joint tangent for the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking stupid. Fuck you. The Astros. Hey, Jalen. The Astros just made the list.
You just made the list.
Exactly. Of course, longtime listeners know we have a always growing list of people and teams and organizations that we hate, and the Astros are now high up on that one. I need to actually make a list of this
very
one.
High.
Hey, so one thing I am planning, I haven't told you guys yet, but let's talk with the viewers real quick, just before we end this show. I am wanting to start to do something like each of one of us have like a face cam, so we can add that a little more fun, like all the other podcasts, all the other good ones are doing. So we gotta be like them. But I would love to have with that face cam is in the background of my shot. I want to have a full list of everything we hate.
Oh yeah.
We need to do that. I'll get a whiteboard.
Yeah, no, we're expanding. We're looking in a move to Spotify and Pandora. I know we've said that a couple times, but this time, for real,
it's getting even
soon.
more serious. Talks are getting
even
serious
more and more serious. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, but everyone just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
stay very, very in tune. Follow on the social medias. We got Instagram, we got the Twitter, we got Facebook. We don't use it because we made it by accident.
We made a Facebook? I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, we have a Facebook, guys. You guys can go follow it. It's just Fourth and Long Radio.
All I know is that everything you need will be in the description of this video.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But we're expanding. I'm happy about it. We're doing big things on Twitter. Instagram starting to pick up a little bit more. YouTube starting to pick up a little bit more. We got more hecklers on Twitter that we're handling very well.
Oh, there's some real dumbasses.
It's a great experience.
Everyone,
there's a lot of dumbasses out in the world.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, honestly, I want to add a segment on here of the dumbass of the week. When we get bigger, we'll put a dumbass of the week up. We will put you in our tweet. We will shout you out, and you will be the dumbass of the week.
Hey, Jalen. But speaking of dumbass of the week, one guy I do want to shout out. We were talking about this having potentially a fan of the week. I don't know if he listens to the show, but he's been great on Twitter over the last week. And that, no last name, but that is Andrew on Twitter. Andrew, if you're listening, thank you, man. We appreciate it. You've been reaching out to us, you've been commenting, you've been liking and stuff. And you're following, and we've been having good conversation with you. You all right.
Yeah, I don't think you knew that there were three of us, but you've talked to all three of us at some point. We've all connected with you.
I appreciate you,
love you,
Andrew. Man. You are the inaugural, first ever, Fourth and Long fan of the week.
We're gonna tag you in the post when we post this.
Round of applause, guys.
I can't wait.
Good job, Andrew. Proud of you.
Love you, Andrew.
You don't get anything besides a special shout out, and we
maybe later on when we're bigger, we could do stuff like that. You'll get something before we give everyone else something.
Oh yeah.
But as of right now, just you get the recommendation.
In the background of the videos.
Yeah. We could put it we can put it up on the wall when we start doing face cam.
Fan of the week plaque.
Like you'll be up on a fan of the week plaque.
Let's go,
but
Andrew. Thank you very much, man.
It's gonna be hand drawn, but
fuck.
But you'll get tagged in our post for it. You can put it in your bio. Be proud of it. All that stuff.
We know it means so much to you to be recognized by this show.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for us this week, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Everything's going to be linked in the description. Twitter, Instagram, and all that fun stuff. I just want to reiterate it again. Thank you so much for your support of this channel. We're growing, we're still young, and we're still improving, and we appreciate all the your criticism and your anything that you have to say for us. We appreciate your support on Twitter, just helping us out and helping us grow our brand. Blake, thank you so much for joining us today on not only this show, but also on the UFC 246 recap show, which will be out very, very soon, probably before this goes live. So, Blake, thank you.
Yep, thanks for having me, man. It was fun tonight.
It's always a good time with the three bros, huh? It's always a good time.
Definitely.
All we do is rant and talk shit about the Broncos and Raiders. What's better? Among other things.
Think of any better way to spend my night.
That's what I'm saying, man. Jalen, as always, the co-host of the show, thank you for being here. You've been here most of the time. I appreciate that.
Yep. Been here since August.
All right, and that's going to do it for us. Of course, I've been your host, Ross. We thank you guys so much for your support, and we will catch you guys in the next show.
Peace.